happy to be here together and discussing poems. That's the best part of our job, we think. We love it. And we're so honored that our writers, our authors, our submitters agree to letting us discuss their work in a public forum like this. And I'm Kathleen Volkmiller, and I'm an essayist and memoirist and do a bunch of stuff here at Drexel University, where we are in the sound studio. And guess who's in the sound studio with me?
Woo! Hi, it's Marion, and I'm here. I'm in your time zone. Can you see me? I'm actually right here. It's Marion Wren, and I am co-editor of Painted Bride Quarterly. I am an essayist, and I'm working on a novel, and I run the writing program at NYU Abu Dhabi.
Yes,
and sitting next to me is
Tim Fitz. I'm the author of 2 short story collections, Hypothermia and Go Home and Cry for Yourselves. And I teach here at Drexel and read with the Painted Bride Quarterly.
Yes, you do. And we're so grateful for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Joe Zhang is our sound engineer.
Joe.
He's on the boards.
Hello.
And Maya is his shadow today. And we're happy to meet her and have her observing. And she's both listening to the work and learning sound engineering jams from Joe, which is awesome. So, listeners, this is a big bite. This is a whole triple layer cake. You know, at the diner, and when they spin,
the rotating cake. Yeah.
This is maybe the whole
Rotating
dessert case. There is a lot of words here for you today, so I'm going to remind you that you can look at these words on our website, pbqmag.org, if you would like to read along, read ahead, any of those things. So we have 2 poems by Yumi Dineen, and they're both long, and we're going to start with the longest one first because that's how we do it. And I also need to ask, should we really read it the whole way through?
Yeah, let's read it the whole way through.
Okay.
It'll be a great experience, I think, for the listeners, too, to have this sort of mega poem.
Should we, since it's 3 pages, should we rotate pages and have a different voice jump in?
One voice.
Okay, one voice. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. I wouldn't mind doing it, but you read
you
really
do it.
well.
No, you do it. I think you should do it.
Okay. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. It's long.
Hang on.
Wait, I really am going to have a sip of water. I was going to take one deep breath and see if I could do it, but I probably wouldn't.
No breath. No breathing.
Do it, no breathing. Okay, Yumi, thank you so much. And here we go. Welcome to Connecticut, land of death and rebirth. I had run through fields in white pants, bleeding from the eye I recalled as I ran through the field in my white pants, bleeding from the eye, and you walked beside me, your briefcase, your flannel, your messenger bag. Your spontaneous face, your spontaneous face, your spontaneous face, where one won't expect you are mine, in the field, in the valley, in the valley, in the tunnel, spooled through your spatialized mind, you are mine. As a tea kettle whistles at the heat, I love you. Trina, drink my cold brew in the window as you walk by and by and walk by and walk by in my cat's eye. Shade in your shade, with a tassel in your ear, I am yours. I run my virtual hand through her virtual hand. 11:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. Do yoga, stare at trees. Location, trees. I grew so much this year, your year, gray hairs, an evening fishing for eels in the creek. A season overlays space, the meeting of homogeneous, empty, and messianic times, where time informs our time, spent among any given spatial totality, and you walk by the window and hashtag thinking about hashtag revenge again. She shreds the straw with my teeth, the buttons done up to the neck like you used to do again, the hand on my head, the head stubble. Oedipal, Stacy suggests. Conference next slide, none of the backs of the heads look like you, and a season overlays time like you. In Cambridge, a Casaubon like Doretha in Rome, a Casaubon who fits in the center for rare books and spatial collections prove non-fatal. The trick was throwing my phone in the compost, moving on with my life in my arms, and I walk ostentatiously past the window as you walk by the window in my new vegan leather, freezing the air with my breath. GCal notification, total knowledge, project due. Today, you have executed your total knowledge project with aplomb. The crowd explodes, ticker tape and Katy Perry songs for you, the king of the total knowledge project. Breaking a dish on my wrist, I watch from the kitchen your faithful wife and staunch the blood with the tapestry she weaves night and night out of my limited intellectual means, with its warp of fact, with its weft of I feel like. You fucking moron, don't you know I'm in love? Walking you back and forth, my fingers staining the window, blocking the natural light. This high noon, I still cough at the smoke, and the smoke still smells like you in my lungs, bent over your total knowledge project. Sign on the door, a girl in a dress reading Omen. I love you, as a tea kettle whistles in the heat, as a window won't lock when the dust weeps in. She allows the pipes to freeze and burst, changes the locks, and you aren't coming back. Recognizing neither my face nor my name, I take the train. You once told me about your people, their parlors and names, their inhibitions, how they questioned the wisdom of classifying even the seemingly non-sexual passions as libidinal. Back in your stomping grounds, welcome to Connecticut. Land of death and rebirth, says the wizened crone on the Metro North, stirring her coffee, a yellow nail, a Greek cup, a fleck of Krispy Kreme in the fates. She thought I would die before she saw Rome. She thought she would die before she saw Rome. She thought she would take you with me. I once told you about my people, how they lacked objects to organize their lives. They're fucking a figure for interconnectedness, a lefted poem writ in my blood. Just for you, the object arrives with me and ends at last with me in the object narrative. You called my name and it was the name of the Lord. Holden will walk me to class the day I can't breathe because of my pollen allergy, because I've lost you, because she'd lost you. Sam would bring me a glass of wine in bed as he walks by the window. He walks by the window. He walks by the window. You walk. I love you as you walk by the window, and she loves you as I love the pills she swallows with wine to draw a circle of salt around my heart to keep you out. Like a mouth loves a lost tooth, drooling blood, I love the way that she loves the pizza delivery. Man, like the lost and found where she found her umbrella again. Between the storm that cold summer day, I left it again distracted by you. I saw her standing, drawing off her glove, standing contrapposto in her limited edition Doc Martens. I saw her standing in the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I saw her standing before a red canvas, standing contrapposto. I said, she looks like the statue of Artemis. I desired to paint her as I would sketch a charcoal sketch of the statue of Artemis. I told her, you look like the statue of Artemis. We debated the merits of visual versus textual representation, their transparency, their potential for eloquent distortion, to reveal the truth of a truth that overwhelms truth with its canvas of red. I saw her stand. I once told you about my people. They were prophets all, burned in the brain. The prophet who buries herself in New Haven will rise from the earth in 17 years, reborn in the mouth of 2013. Your name in her mouth, like a cut, like I always got lost in a city, any city, like the dreams of being naked or lost in my city. I always got lost in the wrong metaphor, like she always got lost in your spatialized mind, in the box house and metaphor, and the train they claimed could only move one way.
Bravo. Bravo. Wild piece of work. Wow. All right. And so the poet's name is Yumi, and her last name is Dineen. Is that right?
Dineen.
Yumi. Okay.
Yeah.
And I ask that only because I'm thrilled to see this poet's work, and I don't know much about Yumi. I don't know if she's got any books or where she's been publishing, and that's my own ignorance. But
that's not ignorance. That's a wonderful way to come to this poem, right? To not know her. Yeah.
Really. So it's a wild spiral. It's a wild spiral.
It absolutely is. So I work with memoir with a group of women for several years now, and they were in last night. And because Marion is in town, she got to sit in with that group. And we were looking at a craft essay. I'll make sure we put a link to it on this episode, but we were looking at a craft essay that talked about different approaches to the essay. And one of them was the flood. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about that right now because that is the approach to this poem for sure, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. When we all read and submittable and are sometimes struck by poems and say, oh, this would be great for the podcast. This is difficult for the podcast because it's this flood of words. But man, did I want to discuss it with you guys in this environment. Like, it's very selfish of me to hoist this upon you and upon our listeners. I hope that experience of hearing it was pleasant for you. I definitely feel like I'm in a deluge of words. Mm-hmm. But so many moments. I was reading to get through it, right? But so many, I mean in the best way, like to have it out there for everybody. But there are so many moments that I want to pause mm-hmm. and read the line again, stay mm-hmm. in the moment for a second, Mm-hmm. I really like its construction. I like the craft of it. It is crazy spiral.
Well, I guess that's what I mean too. Like it's funny that I'm so glad you're going to link to that essay, that craft essay. It's mm-hmm. in brevity, and forgive me, I can't remember the author's name.
That's what I said. Yeah,
but there are like 4 or 5 categories of mm-hmm. kinds of essays, mm-hmm. and one of them was schizophrenia. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not that I.
Well, that had the repetition. The schizophrenia was the repetition one.
That's why I keep coming back to this. Like, there's a flood of words here, but there's like a sort of internal logic that's ticking through the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So it's repeat, and then forward. Repeat, and then forward. Right.
Yeah.
And it's as it's like this, the momentum of this persona's mind, right, on the page, I think is part of the pleasure of the piece, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I was so glad to hear you read it one voice out loud.
Yeah.
Because I think if we had broken it up with different voices, it would push against what is
totally agree
monologue. It is
it's an interior monologue.
Absolutely.
Right. This is it you know what it reminds me of? Mm. Faulkner. Uh-huh. And even Ulysses. Hmm. Yeah. Because even that repetition that we're talking about, I should have looked this up. Just recently I heard how little new thoughts you have every day. And how once you have a thought, like let's say it's even as mundane as we're having brick oven pizza for lunch. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You will keep thinking we're having brick oven pizza for lunch, like through the day. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, or even just like I gotta stop for milk. You are definitely going to remember that you got to stop for milk, but you keep going. And I'm stopping for milk on the way home. Like that thought will just bubble up and bubble up and bubble up all day long.
I saw a woman on the way to get a sandwich before we went to class, before coming here.
Yeah.
She was driving with a dog on her lap, texting.
Holy
smokes. I wanted to tell her that she's a murderer, but
would be murderer.
That face, that look on her face, that dull, stoned look with that idiotic dog, and that like egg white colored phone. I got that image about every 15 minutes that flashes in front of my.
You're still seeing it. And
oh my
about
gosh!
it.
Just like this.
Yeah. If I find it, guys, listeners, guys, hey guys, before we put it up, it was really fascinating about the brain, and so that's why this feels. Yeah, that was another. Like the repetition doesn't bother me
not at all. Not at all. And so, like, I guess so. I don't often watch football. Stay with me on this one, right? And I watched the Bears and Eagles game at my Yes, go Eagles. There's high-fiving in the room, listeners. We're high-fiving. So, but I was watching it with a group of people, and in that group of people, there's someone who's suffering from dementia, early onset, right? And there's a young boy who's got some form of autism, right? He's on the spectrum. He's very like really special, lovely kid. And a really special, lovely older man who's beginning to show signs. But we're all facing the game, right? So it's sort of like the game was sort of holding all of our minds, like we're all focused, right?
Yeah.
But the ways in which we were engaging with the game were so radically different. So this, the man who's beginning to suffer with dementia, I was describing it to Kathleen, when you're in a conversation with him, it's like you're in a story about 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Right? You're just looping. You're just looping, right? And so, and he's not fully aware that he's slipping, but he's focused on the game, right? And then next to me is this young kid who's like trying to play this video game and watching the game, and he's like fluttering with nervous energy, right? And I guess like I'm saying that to you because you think like we're all sitting there, mind numbed, so to speak, like we're all watching the game like Robotron 3000. But all of these different ways of sense making are happening like in the group that you're with. And I think that's why this poem makes such an impact on me, because we are jacked into a mind like perseverating over a broken heart, right? And the way that's happening is with this spray of images that sort of like goes out and comes back in, goes out and comes back in. It's that, you're sort of looping, and then forward motion.
My kids watch movies this way now. So when they're watching a movie and they like the way somebody says a sentence, they'll back it up 3 seconds over and over to hear them say the sentence again.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it drives me crazy.
Yeah. I know why it drives you crazy. That's annoying.
Yeah. But it's their watch. Right. They're not doing it to the movie I'm watching.
Right. Sure.
I'm just like the old guy thinking there must be something wrong with this, because when I was a kid, I watched a movie. I got in one shot.
You could memorize that line and then quote it a million times.
And then it was over for a year. Willy Wonka came on Sunday night after the last football game. And when you had to go eat dinner, you had to go eat dinner and wait to see what happened a year later, if you remembered it was on. But at the same time, they just love the way the words sound.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just getting in their way.
Yeah.
But I like it. But I guess the reason it bothers me, because I think this is going to fracture your reality in some way. And it kind of does. And I feel like this speaks to that kind of current fracturing of reality. I couldn't tell what relationship in this poem was like a virtual reality relationship or a real relationship. It kept, because me coming to the poem, I don't know what is real barely anymore.
Right.
I have no idea if, when I talk to my students in the class, if I say, when you wanted to meet someone to go on a date with, when I was in college, you met them in class, and everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. And I think, okay, this is the generation gap.
Right.
I'm officially on the other side, and I'm just some guy in front of the class now. And when I read this poem, I feel like it speaks to that confusion that we're all having. I really like that. It's confusing to me, but it's naturally confusing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. listeners might even know and I know that you guys know that I do like a narrative poem. I want to know what's happening, all those things. I don't with this one.
Yeah.
I don't mind that I think the speaker is using I and she for herself.
Oh,
right.
Totally.
And I think that the you is the lover. Or a lover, right? Or the other, let's say, partner. You said the broken heart. I'm not sure about this one being a broken relationship either.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's like I love. Well, okay. So here's my. So, yeah. How do I get that? So on the third stanza, end of the third stanza, right? In the second stanza, your spontaneous face, your spontaneous face, your spontaneous face, where one won't expect you are mine, in the field, in the valley, in the tunnel, spooled through your spatialized mind, you are mine, as a tea kettle whistles at the heat, I love you. Trying to drink my cold brew in the window as you walk by and by and walk by and by. So there's the first, for me, confession is of I love you, right? Self to other, right? And then on the, maybe like the third page, Holden will walk me to class. Right. The day I can't breathe because of my pollen allergy, because I've lost you, because she lost you. Sam wouldn't bring me a glass of wine in bed, and he walks by the window, and he walks by the window, walks by the window. I love you as you walk by the window, and she loves you as I love this pill she swallows with wine to draw out a salt circle around my heart to keep you out. Right. Like somewhere in here, I got there's there is a
break, a riff
that this person's in love with someone else and not her, that there's a breakup, right? But to your point, if the I and the she are the same person, right? If the I is also the wife, right? Then that muddies my reading. You fucking moron, don't you know I'm in love?
Right. I don't know if he's all the way gone. I don't think I'm going with hetero adjectives here. I apologize, but I don't know if the would-be partner is all the way gone, even though she says, I've lost you. I think she doesn't have him.
Right.
That's why there's all this watching and I love you here and I love you there, you fucking more and I love you, right? I think the other doesn't know. But also, again, let's just take this back. I don't need to have such a clear handle on the linear narrative here, because I'm struck by so many moments, and this deluge of words is such a pleasure.
One moment for me was when in the parentheses, when it says, sign on the door, a girl in a dress reading Omen. So this reminds me of, I'll be a little self-indulgent. When I lived in South Korea, I read a lot of the sports page on Yahoo, and I loved watching a game and then reading about it. That's my favorite thing to do. And I watched a lot of games just by seeing the scores flip.
Right.
So when they weren't on the Armed Forces TV. And then the favorite thing is going to sleep, waking up and reading the recap and reading about the story. Mm-hmm. And then one day the recap stopped appearing and it said game story. And I thought, dear God, are people too dumb now to know what recap means? And then about a year later, the game story disappeared and they just stopped doing recaps. And I thought, I guess no one's going to read anymore pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And then I see this line, sign on the door, a girl in a dress reading, and then capital letters, Omen. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of a girl I saw smoking today before class. I thought, that's weird. Who smokes? She was like 18. Mm-hmm. I'm like, people our age did, then you quit. But young people don't.
Right.
And I thought that's what's going to happen when the zombies come. People are going to start smoking again.
Well, sure.
And when I see someone smoking now, I think, what's wrong? What happened today?
But wait. So the sign on the door and a girl in a dress reading, right? So it's a bathroom door and the W is missing, right? So that's the joke.
Yeah, I know, but
right?
I saw Omen. I didn't even see that. I just saw, I'm just thinking, because that popped me back into thinking of, and I've been reading about how people people skim read now, and it's rewiring our brains.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
And this is all so horrifying, and people don't realize, we have to start. I'm not even a huge reader, really. I only read the things I like to read, but I don't read anything else. And I find if I don't like it, it's a struggle, and I put it down, and I think I have to start doing some more heavy lifting.
But okay,
just to
but that's
rewire
a
things.
perfect like addition to the conversation, because that's what, listen to what we're talking about. We're like loving the flood of these words and resisting making sense of it, right? Because it's not it doesn't yield a clear narrative. So we're not even going to try to find one, right? So is the pleasure in the skimming or what?
I saw this girl in a dress reading. I thought when I saw that image, I didn't see the Omen. I saw a sign of a girl reading.
Yeah.
Like a picture of a girl
and
reading.
the book she's reading is Omen.
I saw that too.
The book,
Yeah.
That's
I kind of like the double. It was double.
Well,
reading Omen.
Yeah.
And I do think the Omen, the book, my family was really into all the scary books. Seriously, they all read all the Stephen King and all that. I really think the Omen was in capital letters like that.
Yeah.
Like the Omen was the cover.
But I think that, like to what Yumi's got going on here, by the way, I think is a really wicked sense of humor too, right?
Sure.
So that parenthetical reference to a bathroom door, right? Which we can read like 10 different ways, also reminds me that the 6th stanza, if you're interested, dear listeners, she's referring to, is that Middlemarch? Casaubon and Dorothea are characters from Middlemarch, right? So that whole Casaubon whose fits in the center for rare books and special collections prove non-fatal. Like she's making gestures at hashtags and Middlemarch, right?
Yeah,
so it's George Eliot and bathroom doors, right? So again, like the pleasure is in the flood. It puts you in the position of being a skim reader, but then if you slow down over it, it's there's just a term in visual art called horror vacui, right? Where you don't want a blank space at all in the canvas. And that's what this feels like to me, right?
Yeah.
Like every space is filled with these details that this mind is picking out.
Right. Vegan leather,
right?
Yeah.
Vegan leather. And her cold brew.
Yeah.
Trying to drink my cold brew.
Right. And maybe we're going back all the way to where we started, which is I didn't skim read this for sure.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Double sneeze.
Double sneeze. That's good luck. That's a good omen.
I lost it.
You didn't skim read.
I didn't skim read when I read this the first time. And when I remember, as soon as I was done reading it to you guys, I said I felt like I was rushing it, even though I was trying to like read slowly. But because I felt it was asking me to pause and like absorb moments for a second before I went on, But yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I love, and you're right too, there is this wit. Like I want to hang out with this person. You know what I mean? 11:45 to 1, do yoga, stare at trees. Location, trees. Like you're going to dedicate that much time to yoga too is just great.
And and this right, the GCal notification Total Knowledge Project due. Today you have executed your Total Knowledge Project with the plum, the crowd explodes, ticker tape, and Katy Perry songs for you. That's just like delightfully specific.
And how about breaking a dish on my wrist? I watch. So fun. So fun.
See, this is where I started to think about broken relationship. From the kitchen, your faithful wife, right? And staunch the blood with the tapestry she weaves night in, night out of my limited intellectual means. But
I still thought it was her.
That's funny. And I thought it was someone else, but I think that's actually part of the delight of the poem is this fractured mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a doozy. This poem is a doozy.
Yeah. I don't think she's the wife. I think she's using the
right.
word wife.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because she's
also
alienated from herself.
in a giggly way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a lot. And we do have another one that's a bit shorter. And
do we have time?
It's 12:45. We could do it, I think. So let's vote on this one. Are we ready to do so? All right. 1, 2, 3. And it's unanimous.
Nice.
Yes. Woohoo! Thank you. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Now I can reveal just how excited I am. I'm so excited. She had me at Welcome to Connecticut. All right, Marion, are you doing this? You're gonna breathe.
Okay.
Have a good healthy sip of water before you start in.
Sip of water. Water. Sip of water. Get my Jersey accent on. Have a glass of water. Glaze. and do the wash. Ready?
Wash?
Have you heard wash? You wash.
That's a Southern thing, girl. I think that's from your
that's
mom
a
being
Philly
from
thing.
Virginia.
That's a Philly thing.
Is that a Philly thing?
Wash.
Wow.
Do the wash, get the gaze. All right. A surfeit of saturation and light / hungry ghost. Yumi Dineen. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. The foxes hold their wedding at the mountain's base. They wait for rainbows to banner the sky, for the train to fall, while the sun shines yoked to such pairings by their normative ideas of the future. They cannot remember what dreams they once held for themselves. Dressed in your finest, you buy them 2 vols off their registry. I catch the bouquet of narcissus, willow, and peony. You walk through a field in black and white, and you walk through another field in green and one in gold. I love you, a 29-year-old sprung fully formed from the pit of a peach, charisma in your footstep, and your heart so impetuous, and your eye flits along the fields of differing colors. Every day I wait at the New Brunswick train station for you, tapping my foot with a sound like water on stone. You reproduce yourself in each of your children. My throat is too narrow for the hole in my stomach to be filled, which is why I need you, stepping from the train, clothed in the skin of a peach. But you are a bad man, bumming around in the rice fields. You are the fox in her house dress who sits by the window watching the hens. Your heart is full of peach pulp and fuzz, and the fruit around the pit is sour. You are not the monk in his field of persimmon trees. You are not the painter eating his blues, nor are you the blues or their valuable pigment. You are a man who sprang from the pit of a peach. I loved you while my hair was still buzzed with the No. 3 clippers. I came to meet you as far as the platform. The Oni rifle through my drawers for valuables. They tear through my books. They leave my dresses strewn along the floor. They take my cash, my passport to their castle in the sky. I will grow older, and you will grow older, and the foxes will fuck beneath the rafters of the porch. You will fight the Oni in the sky for me, but I can also fight the Oni in the sky. I can climb up to the castle on the hill. You have met so many amazing people on this journey. You have this really special connection with the fox and the pheasant and the monkey who stands, hand pressed to his silent mouth. I press and hold my hand to my mouth. I am biting the peach pit in half with my sharp fox teeth.
Thank you.
Yay. Wow. What a poem.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I had to look up Oni because I didn't realize what they were, right? But they're the little demons, the little gremlins. Yeah, that's what I learned. Yeah. Thoughts?
Well, on the surface, I like about this and the other poem that they're weird without being goofy and smart without being pretentious.
Nice. Yes,
That's
absolutely.
a great
100%.
piece of advice to the world.
100%.
Weird without being goofy,
Yeah.
and smart without being pretentious.
Man,
Mm-hmm.
that's PBQ's new motto.
Mm-hmm. Done.
With no
right?
pen.
So Tim Fitz is dropping a microphone right now.
Joe, can I write that down?
we are recording
sorry.
it though.
I know.
I
know, but then I'd have to
think
replay.
we have the archive.
I just want to
right?
write it down. Keep
That's
talking.
funny.
Keep talking.
Yeah,
But really, that could be a good motto for us.
that's a great motto.
Can we make something with that?
I
At
think
least
we
a
can
Cafe
have
Press
them.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, listeners. By the way, we're having a Cafe Press launch real soon.
Yeah. So I want to tell a story, personal story. This is totally self-indulgent, but I went to Singapore a couple years ago, and I think I might have been possessed by a demon.
Oh, honey. Oh, I
Can
remember
ever
the
tell you
story.
the
Yeah.
Right? I think it's technically called hypnagogic sleep paralysis, but I think a demon sat on me.
Yeah, sure.
right? And I couldn't.
I had that
I
happen
couldn't
once,
move.
too. We talked about
right?
this.
Like,
Yeah.
and I swear something was pounding on the bed.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like terrified or anything, right? But then when I woke up the next morning, I was looking around the room like, what the heck was that, right? And there was this sculpture of the monkey god. I think it's Hanuman, right? Who was like at the bottom of this table holding up a tabletop. And I was like, oh, well, it was the monkey god that just sat on my chest and held me in place and I couldn't move last night. That's what happened. Totally rational, totally logical thought process. Tell my friend Robin Hemley about this. He's like, oh, that's called hypnagogic sleep paralysis. Right?
Yeah.
It's when your brain holds you in place and you can't move.
Right.
And your central nervous system is sort of like shooting off sparks or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, I tell you that story because coming to the end of this poem, when she does this direct address to you, like you have met so many amazing people on this journey. And again, that verges on a cornball line, but she pulls it back into the delightfully weird. You have this special connection with the fox, and I'm biting the peach pit in half with my sharp fox teeth. Like when the poem turns back and looks at the reader in that moment, it is so weird and so perfectly creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a charming and winning move for me.
Yeah.
Reminding me of my Singapore ghost. Thank you very much.
Well, and you have those monkeys see no evil, right? The monkey with his silent hand over his mouth. She's making the same position, but she's biting the peach pit with her sharp fox teeth.
Yep. So smart.
Very cool.
Funny. Mm-hmm. Yumi, what you can't see is both the focus on our faces and the grins. There are grins in the room.
We're literally smiling and nodding and looking at it again.
Yeah.
You know, when you read the line, but you are a bad man, he almost bust out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I don't know. I love the line. I love it when someone calls somebody a bad man.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a great thing to say to a person.
Yeah.
Instead of using bad words, you just get to the point. You're a
Yeah.
bad man. That's what I should have said to the woman driving with the dog today.
Yeah, you're a bad person.
You're a bad man.
Yeah.
driving with the dog on your lap.
You know, you
Texting
probably could have called her license plate in.
Yeah.
But there's even a
I-
line that nobody knows the number.
I don't want to
but there
be
is
too much of
number.
a hypocrite. I mean, I've eat bowls of cereal while I'm driving and talk on the phone too. I don't do that anymore. I did that when I was in high school. I didn't talk on the phone. They didn't have them in high school, but I would eat cereal.
I was gonna say you do as long as the phone
I don't.
cord would extend.
I don't want to go around judging people. I don't want to call the cops on them. I just want to
Right.
say that she's a bad man and move on. But I love that. I love that line. It's such a shocking tone, too, because she's getting weird, and then she stops and says, "You're a bad man." It brings you right back to the plain conversation.
Yeah, right. That plain speech, and then like 2 lines next, you are a fox in her house dress. Right. That's funny.
I'm
right?
gonna bet that this writer doesn't know
Watching
which.
the heads.
I bet this writer doesn't know which lines are weird and which are normal. I think it's just a natural, organic flow, which doesn't mean there's no craft in it, which means it's just, or the writer is good enough to know to not allow us to see the gears turning.
But that does feel like a gear shift, though. But you are a bad man. It's like clunk, clunk, boom.
It's a gear shift, but it doesn't.
right?
But I don't see the process.
You
And-
don't see the machine.
yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. And the line, the Oni rifle through my drawers, in my ignorance, the first time I read that, I was like, the Oni rifle, like as if that were an adjective
a word, right?
describing
I did the same
noun,
thing.
right? Rifle. But rifle is the verb, which is delightful. I guess that's part of the weirdness and wit of the poem, too. Part of the charm here is that her nouns, what you think is a noun is a verb, and what you think is a verb is a noun, but she's not nounifying or verbifying.
Right.
Right? Like she's not like, there's a great Anne Carson poem called First Chaldaic Oracle. The right way to know a thing is by a cherrying of the mind. Now, what the hell does that mean? But you kind of get what that means. But she turns cherry, right, into this thing that the mind can do.
Right.
And what this is like, she's got nouns doing verb things and verbs doing noun things, which is great.
Yeah. And her voice is similar in that humor too.
Mhm.
You know, I loved you while my hair was still buzzed with the number 3 clipper.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am there. I'm charmed by so many things, right? But and even though this is also long, this is an entirely different poem, right? Entirely different. Even though I hear her again, I guess because of this like fable thing going on with the fox and the hens, and the fox, it opens with a fox wedding, right?
Yeah, it does feel like a fable. You're right.
Waiting for the rainbows to banner the sky, for the rain to fall while the sun shines. Sounds so lovely
It
too.
sure does.
What are we thinking? Are we thinking we're voting?
I think we can vote.
I feel pretty good
Let's
about
do
voting.
this.
Let's do it.
Let's wait. I'm gonna like hold my hand up to my face and chew on a peach. No, I'm joking.
You're so
All right, ready? I'm looking away though.
All right,
Okay.
all right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, shoot!
Yay!
Yay! Yumi, thank you.
I talk to my students when I teach at the music school. There's usually one class period where we go around the room and talk about who does and doesn't have perfect pitch, or who has synesthesia or not. And I started to wonder if there's if there's an equivalent of perfect pitch for words, you know, for tone. Because sometimes it just seems like someone is a little more locked in.
Yeah.
And this looks like the person is really locked in on the flow of language.
Yeah.
That's right.
And understands how things
That's great.
is fitting things together, and they're probably unaware of that, you know, but just is naturally fitting things in and catching phrases here and there. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Perfect pitch. Yay.
Wow. All right, listeners, give us some feedback if you've got any. It's the only thing we ask of you, to keep listening, keep reading, talk to us in any of the ways that you can, now that we're living in this world, right?
Digital world.
Digital world. Thank you. Woohoo! Woo!